All right, we're gonna try it again. I'm sorry, guys. We've been having a lot of issues lately. We're trying to keep the stream going. This is James with the bounce back. James Thomas, James T, and my friend Natasha. Natasha, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, hello. I am Natasha Feddersen, owner of Into Potential, as well as the director, house manager for Bridge House Charlotte. If you're watching Bridge House, love you.
Okay, guys. I hope you guys are watching at Bridge House. Listen, we got a good show for you coming up. Today, we're going to be talking about some of the same things that we talked about before. Remember, we talked about the bounce back, how to bounce back during recovery, especially during times of COVID. Now, right now, we got people going back to work. What do you think about how people might deal with going back and forth to work, going back into the workspace, going back into being around people, anxieties, stresses? What do you think about that?
I think at this point, those issues are probably going to be high. There's going to be a lot of anxiety, a lot of different emotional feelings behind it, in making that transition from being at home to going to work to a lot. I have it going to work and driving on the highway. It's too many cars. It's too many cars. So it's real. It's real. The thing is, what do you do?
What do you do? I mean, listen, we got a lot of stuff going on right now, but we're hoping, kids are back at school. A friend of mine's a teacher. Kids are back at school almost full time. What do we do? What do you teach the kids? What do you tell the kids? So coming back and forth from COVID relief, going back in the workspaces is the topic of today. Also, before we go deeper, I want to let you know about our warm line. There it is right there up on the screen. Here at Promise Resource Network, this is James, PRN. We have a warm line. I work on a warm line. A lot of us do. And basically, warm line is a space that you can call when you need help, someone to talk to, you're struggling with issues. It's confidential. If you call a warm line any day, we operate it 24 hours a day. So there's the number right there, 833-390-7728, the warm line, all over the country, actually. And then let's not forget about our welcome desk. When you call PRN, you're going to get a nice warm welcome, which is basically a big hug. And everybody there is going to help you out. We're going to get you linked to different resources that we can get you linked to. Now, back. What are we going to talk about the bounce back? I gave you some information. Let's go into the first out of the 8 dimensions of wellness, guys. We got 8 that we practice, and we help practice with other people. So Natasha, my main person here. I almost said my main dude. Did I almost say it?
I'm not
my main dude, Tasha, is gonna help me break down some of these dimensions and what practices we could use for bouncing back in recovery. What do you think?
Well, I think great segue. If we go into the model the typical model that everyone uses, which is the biopsychosocial model. It deals with your biological components, your psychological component, and your social component. And that's how we are treated normally when it comes to any diagnosis.
So can you go back over those again? Biological.
Biopsychosocial.
Biopsychosocial, guys.
Biopsychosocial model is the one that our system uses. However, when we're looking at the 8 dimensions of wellness, that considers bio, my biological, my psycho, my emotional, and my social, my being, my social being. If we add another component, which is what we don't ever really discuss, which is our spiritual, biopsychosocial spiritual component. Okay. I think our bounce back might be a little easier.
Give me a thought process about what that looks like on a day-to-day basis. Do I practice break this down, what this means with this biopsychosocial, and put it together with some spiritual, maybe even tell us about something you do, something you use when you're stressed out or you're frustrated and you need that bounce back. You can't call me because I'm at work. So she can't call me that day. What are you going to do?
Well, what I do already, I created a program a while ago called Getting Back to Life. And with Getting Back to Life, it deals with the core. We always talk about our physical core. I got to get my core tight. It ain't tight, y'all. It ain't tight. But I mean well. But the core, when we talk about our core with the biopsychoeducational, biopsychosocial spiritual model, it's not just including my physical core, it's including my spiritual core. And your spiritual core comes from your center of reality eternally, your eternal reality. What does that look like? And sometimes we go through things, but we don't consider, if I get my core spiritually connected, then it might balance out some of those other aspects of life. So with me, when I do the things that I do in this particular model, we work with people that may have different religious background. It's not about your religion at all. For us, it's about your spiritual connection. And from there, giving you a greater sense of how to tap in. And as I tell my niece, plug in sometimes. Sometimes you got to get up, plug in to get rejuvenated. And we're bouncing back into this new society of post-COVID. What does that look like? How do I manage my anxiety? How do I manage my stress before COVID, during COVID? Now I got more after COVID. What does that look like? I need to not only do my physical workout, my my mental workout, my social engaging with people. What does that look like? And then my spiritual. How do I found a foundation for that? I think what you go from is dealing with your creator, your sense of higher power, and doing whatever it takes to acknowledge that and find peace.
So is this like a form of meditation? Is this a practice daily of meditation? We talk a lot about that on the show, guys. So is this like a space that you go into and a time you go into it? Is this something that you're doing, daily, routinely?
You are building up your core, just like your physical core. Whatever religious practice that you have, whatever your mantras may be, whatever it is that your practice requires you to do. For me, I give praises to my ancestors. I have to honor them. I have to give my God, my creator, a praise for this day and every day. And then I have to be mindful. In my practice, I have to be mindful of things I do. And make sure that what I do it with good intentions because of my own karma.
You mentioned that. Now we have to go there because there's lots of different backgrounds, people who are listening, lots of different spaces that people come from. So I too, like Natasha, work spiritually when it comes to spiritual part with my ancestors. And African spirituality, we call it Egungun. But in wherever space that you're in, these are the people who raised us. It might be your grandma, grandfather, some people who have passed on. So this is a spiritual practice. This is also a practice of getting that energy back, collecting the energy, working with the energy, having positive affirmations and things that I always told you guys that the things that I do that help me get going. Is what other spaces though can we work with off the 8 dimensions of wellness?
Well, I think if once we deal with that part of it, that's the core group of it. Let's talk about our environment. What does that look like?
Okay.
What do you do? For me, in the house that I run, Bridge House Charlotte, number one, my staff know.
Shout out to Bridge House.
Bridge House Charlotte.
Okay.
But we operate that house with a sense of excellence. But my staff know that we are modeling an environment for our residents to take with them to their own home. So that looks like we do meal prepping, but it's not just a meal prep. It's a meal by way of recipes that they find out these big expensive books. Let's figure out how to cook this meal. That's an environmental change. That's not what I might be used to oodles and noodles. But today we're going to have some chutney, curry goat or whatever, something very different to get out of your normal, changing my environment.
Getting out of the normal, guys. This adds positive energy. It also adds value to the new you, right? The new you. You got to do different things. Remember, guys, 2 weeks ago, I started a garden. Nothing came up yet, but it's working out for me. It's coming. It's coming. I got some stuff that I planted, which are beautiful, herbs, and they're coming. So bring on the new.
Bring on the new. In this environment, how about let's get rid of some of this clutter? I'm a hoarder, 101, okay? But I have done so well. Why? I trashed it, and it hurt. But I know that I can't bring certain things into my space because I would hold on, and it creates more havoc for me in my life. So with that, I don't do newspapers at all. I'm not going to stack them up. I can't use them. It don't serve me. I let it go.
Was it really hard for you to let some things go? And what were those things? Were they things that you just had as a routine? Sometimes we hold things for such a long time. To think about letting it go and releasing ourselves from it, it takes a toll on us. And it's for no specific reason, just because we've had it for 10 years. What do you think about stuff like that?
Well, it was mine, but it didn't serve me. When it no longer serves you, you have to let it go.
Gotta let it go.
Yeah. And speaking of the same thing in your environment. So we're talking about cleaning up. I'm not the one to do baseboards, but guess what? My environment is clean, so I don't mind paying somebody to do them damn baseboards.
Okay.
Please do my baseboards.
Okay.
I'll pay you for it. That's not what I do, but that's creating an ambiance, an environment that's peaceful, that's relaxing, and that's calming for me.
So again, guys, these are things that we can use. The simple. It's not even a thing that you have to get. It's just a reaction and a new thing, a new space that we have to live in our lives so we can move forward. So cleaning up, getting rid of clutter. Old folks, old school called it spring cleaning, right?
Absolutely.
My grandma called it spring cleaning. So this gets you going, gets the environment changing. What about environment? Here we go with people. What about people who don't serve us? I'm waiting to hear what she got to say about this.
Really?
I'm waiting to hear what she got to say about this, guy.
This is my brother. So, environmental with people. My mantra, if it no longer serves me, I gotta let it go. I can be kind to you, I can be nice to you, but if my core doesn't line up with your core, I love you, but it no longer serves me.
And talk about how that could be tough for some of us, because we teeter sometimes, guys. We teeter on that space with people that really, those relationships don't serve us with the new direction we're going. We teeter and hug it and hold on. Sometimes it becomes a crutch or a.
Is that a hoarding of emotions of friends?
Wow.
Are we hoarding friends?
Wow. Hoarding friends. I like that. You know what? I like that. I like that. I like that. So what else you got to say about that? I had to push the clap button. It's time to clap on the bounce back. I had to push the clap button because that hoarding friends, hoarding people that don't serve us any longer. We got to do something about that in our environment.
Got to cut it. I think that is a very difficult thing sometimes, but you have to, again, spend time with you as you develop your core. And in developing that, you know that some things don't serve. Now, it's hard to walk away. And even in your walking away, it doesn't have to be I'm through with you, get out of my face, blah, 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 blah. It's not that. It's I'm at peace with this.
And I didn't want to do this, but I got to do it. You don't want to put you on the spot. So I'm not going to look at you when I put you on the spot, even though I can see the reflection. Listen, give us an example of a time that you had to release some person or something like that in this space where you had to separate from some person. It might have gave you anxiety, but you've been together for a long time, even if it was for a short time. Can you give us an example?
So with that, I gave him the business. I think that an example of, and I'll be very ambiguous, family. We all have family. And we hoard them too. But I think sometimes when I can no longer be my authentic me.
Ooh.
With no apology.
The clap button again. When I can no longer be my authentic me. Because my mentor always told me, if you can't be you, who can you be?
Now, I don't want to be them or anyone else. I need to be at this point in life, me. So when I can no longer be my authentic me, then I choose to let y'all have it and I'll stay over here. And it's not personal. It's not mean. It's about me being the best me I can possibly be. And to love and like all of me.
Right. So you have to be in a space, guys, where we, realize it's okay to release that. Okay to choose you.
Say it one more time.
Okay to choose you. It's all right to choose you. So every once in a while, actually a lot. It's all right to be what some consider to be selfish when you're working on you. when it's an outcome that you are hoping, a dart that you're throwing, a angle, a target that you're obtaining or trying to reach, you're gonna reach it if you focus and work on your own mental health, your own personal strength, your own personal goals. We're talking about recovery again after COVID, 1 year after COVID, during COVID. We're talking about bouncing back. So when we bounce back, sometimes we have to shed some things. And I think people who mess with flowers call it pruning, correct?
Pruning, absolutely.
So we might have to
Absolutely.
prune some of those things, and they're tough. So recognize it. Once again, guys, when we're talking, shout out to, what's the name of your place?
Bridge House Charlotte.
Bridge House Charlotte. We got to shout out to that. Also, don't forget our warm line as we continue on growing and talking more to you guys about these different topics during COVID. Don't forget, write that number down. I'm gonna hold there for a moment about the warm line. You might need to call. You might know. Share it with somebody. People need to talk to people. What are we talking about next? About the 8 dimensions of wellness and COVID and ways that we can bounce back. We went through physical, biophysical, emotional. We went through environment, spiritual, which in that environment covers people, places, and things, right? You know, we're talking about letting people go that no longer served us, and that's a hard one because they're actually physical people. What else can we talk about?
Let's talk about what's next and being what's next occupational wise, because that's a part of wellness.
Okay, I like that. What's
Let's
next?
talk about
What's
that.
next?
When we talk about what's next, like I find it odd and awesome being in this place because in the beginning of my recovery, this was my first job at Promise Resource Network. Shout out Roxy, Shireen, whoop whoop.
Okay.
But this was my first place of learning to be unapologetically me. And so my occupation started. I went to school as a sports social worker, came here, became a recovery navigator, a peer support specialist, and I continued to move throughout different positions. But occupationally, as we're coming out of COVID, you shouldn't come out the same way you were in. The same way you went in, the way you were while you were in. I hope that you had time to create a plan occupationally to come out.
That's a big key occupationally. We got to be ready for all these things, right? So shout out. Hey, she gave a shout out. She started some of her recovery right here, guys, right here. Promise Resource Network. We're happy to have her back. Hey, she ran to a few friends on the way in. Yeah. So how was that? How did that feel walking in here and seeing some people that we talked about sharing last night? What about that?
I think, like I mentioned today coming in, for me, can't speak for anyone else, but once I am a part of you and I believe, then we're together forever, ever.
She mean like that with relationships? We together?
Ever.
Anyway, I am so happy to have her here. Listen, we clown and we have a good time, but we want to make this experience happy and fun for you guys. It's you can be happy and have fun talking about recovery.
Absolutely.
Can't you? It's not always serious business, but we want to lighten it up, add light to it. Add light to the power that you have, the power that we have within inside of us. We don't always have to think someone's coming to save us. We got this, and you got this. Absolutely. So listen, we got the warm line up. Welcome desk up. What's next? What are we going to talk about next?
What you want to talk about?
I don't know. Pick one. We talk about occupation.
Yes, we talked about spiritual. We talked about physical. We talked about social. We talked about emotional. We talked about environmental. We only have 2 things left.
What are those?
Intellectual and financial.
Let's hit finances, guys. Let's hit finance. What are we going to do for bouncing back during COVID, after 1 year after COVID? Setting ourselves up for recovery financially. Or growing. A lot of us grew.
Absolutely.
During COVID, didn't it? That really happened. Yeah. That is strange, but a lot of us grew. A lot of new businesses came about. A lot of business took a low, but a lot of people lost jobs. But a lot now, we're having trouble hiring people out here because of various reasons. What do you think about recovery financially and during COVID?
I think that different people got hit very differently. Understand? There are some that lost it all. And those are the ones that are trying to recover. But it's hard to recover when you're thinking about your basic needs financially. But what I say to you is that there is hope. Sometimes if you line yourself up, get your core together, get your core together, those things will come together. But you got to line your core up. And I'm not talking about your physical core again. I'm going back to the spiritual core. You line your core up and those things will come together. As we say in the Christianity world, all things work together for good. So like financially, you may have hit a downfall during COVID, but if you allow it, it will work together for your good. But the key word.
Key.
Which what?
Allow.
Won't he do it?
Allow. She set me up. She just set me up. Okay, listen. But really though, allow, the art of allowing. The art of allowing. We talked last week about emergencies and not always running to the emergency. Allowing the momentum to die down and use your core, your mind, your spirituality. Use your natural support systems. Just like we talked about last week. Mitch was on here. We talked about how sometimes I use him. We use our mentors are important. As a lot of us don't have
Roxy
mentors.
Johnson.
Shout out to mentors. Listen, shout out to mentors, guys, because listen, my mentor is 65 years old. Everything that man ever told me came to pass. I hope you don't tell me nothing else.
Please and thank you.
Please don't tell me nothing else. But my point is, we need that guidance. So when we reach out to natural support systems, family, friends that are a support system for us, especially now and through COVID, what are we going to do financially? What are we going to do to set this is awakening to some degree.
Absolutely.
To set ourselves up for a better financial future, not only for us, but our kids. So, we can't say enough about that. I know here at Promise Resource Network on PRN, we have people who are qualified to teach some aspect of finances that come on. But listen, anything that you have to add, we got a chat line, you can add it in on our chat line here today, live. So just let us know. We have Promise Resource Network. We love working with you guys and helping you guys. Now, we had one last topic. What was it? Because I hit finance. That's your intellect, right?
Intellect.
What are we going to say about that? I spend most of my time in that space.
Free your mind and the rest will follow.
That's what they say. Who sang that song?
Because In Vogue.
Free your mind, guys, and the rest. What does that mean? Let's talk about
Think about that. If you free your mind, sometimes intellectually we get so caught up on what we think, what we feel, what we. Get out your own way. Get out your own way, free your mind, and the rest will follow. Once you free your mind, your spirit will be free. No more shackles holding you. Your physical will be free. Because sometimes we can't do. Why? Because our mind said we can't do.
So we're back to letting go of baggage and allowing.
Your hoarding of your mind. Is we hoarding?
Hoarding of our mind.
Yeah.
I agree with that because me particularly, get in my own way with overthinking. Overthinking, guys. We got to slow that down. We got to slow that process down. We got to allow new things to come in us. We can't hold up barriers so much because we're sometimes putting barriers to something that's really coming to help, and we don't know. Isn't that absolutely? Doesn't that happen in your life sometimes?
Absolutely.
We got to do better.
Your own way, please and thank you.
What's another way that you can get out your own way? What's an action you could take to get out your own way?
I have a special lady that I just hung up on the phone with, and I have reminded her, and a lot of my other residents that. Don't take yourself so serious. Today, you don't have to have anxiety. You don't have to worry. You choose to worry. And as it comes up on you, remember, tell yourself, hey, it's not that serious. It's not that serious. And I'm going to be all right. I'm going to be all right.
I can agree with that. I mean, I've been in that space before. Sometimes it's hard to work with yourself. Isn't that strange? You want to say honey? Sometimes it is so hard to work with yourself, guys. Why is that? Do we ask ourselves questions? Sometimes they think I'm crazy because I say self.
Put yourself.
I said to myself, self. We have to ask ourselves questions. We have to propose a question so we can bring forth the answer. So
Absolutely.
when it comes to family, friends, when it comes to recovery, all questions are valid. All questions are valid because it's going to lead us right to the same space. You know, what would Natasha's older self say to her younger self?
Girl, take your time.
Mm.
We gonna be here. It's all right.
Mm.
Take your time. We gonna be here.
Take your time. Why is it that all the people who I asked that question to, everyone says, relax? I would say to the younger version of me, chill. Just chill, man. Everything's working out. Everything's always working out.
We'll work out.
I always say everything always working out. It's always working out. Remember the last emergency. If you can, you remember that you got through it.
You're still here to tell about
still here to talk about it. You got through it. So let's look at the new one as if it's gonna be okay. It's gonna fizzle away. I'm gonna pump the brakes, let it die out. All these different things. Any last words for some of these great people here we got? I mean, we got some people watching. We got some great people here. Don't forget about our welcome desk and our warm line. We just went through 8 dimensions of spiritual mental wellness and how to practice those 8 dimensions.
All of them.
All of them and recover. I am so happy that you came here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Tell them where you at again.
I am with Into Potential Incorporated as well as Caremore Communities, Bridge House, Charlotte.
All right. So is there any way anybody can reach you for anything?
Yeah. They can reach me at intopotential@gmail.com.
All right. Hey, listen, this is one of my best friends here, guys. We've had a great time together. My heart pumps for her. Yes. We were together last night talking about this. Yes. I'm so happy that she got a chance to come on here and act goofy because she's really goofy. But listen, guys, we have had a wonderful time. I got to hit the clap button because some of the stuff that she said was amazing. I told you it's going to be great. We love having the bounce back opportunity. Bounce back every day. Bounce the ball of your life. Bounce the wisdom in your heart. And listen to people. Use your natural resources. They're here. And guess who else is? PRN, Promise Resource Network. So we want to just thank you for coming on the show, Natasha. We want to end on a good note. Promise Resource Network, guys. Warm line, welcome desk. We will see you next time. We good. I ended it.